What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dear Mr.
and Mrs. Bradley.
All right, guys, so we are back with another amazing topic. Today's topic is again brought to us from you guys today.
Speaking of that, if you guys are not following us on Instagram, we are on Instagram, same name at Bradley Party of Six. It's always linked down below in the description box. Make sure you're following us and join the family. So we love taking you guys' questions, and we get so many of them over there. So if you want to submit a question, definitely head over to Instagram, click that follow button, and also you can submit a question or a topic for us to tackle here. We do some really fun stuff on Instagram, some behind the scenes, some reels and stuff like that. Some really funny reels, might I add. So head on over there and give us a follow. Also, if it's your first time dropping into this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't leave without joining the family because you never want to miss an upload.
Don't forget to like also. All right, guys. So, again, like I said, today's topic is brought to us by you. I feel like this series is taking off the way that I envisioned when we first rolled this series out. A lot of Dear Mr. and Mrs. Bradley type of questions, and today is no different. So today's question was asked, which I feel like we get this topic question asked a lot to us. We've never really done we haven't done a sit down video to address it. It's blended families. How you all make it work with Amari's other family. How not to let them affect the relationship. Cece actually did a car chat video, which really took off. It was a couple of years ago, right?
That was like 3 years ago. I did a car chat video, which I'm gonna post the thumbnail right here. If you guys haven't seen it, head on over to our channel and check it out. But you're on our channel, but go check it out if you haven't seen it. I'll link it down below as well. But I did this about 3 years ago, and I still get comments and questions on this video to this day, literally to this day.
Yeah. So today's topic is, how do we as a couple handle being in a blended family, i.e. Mari has a different mother than the other 3 kids in his home, and how our relationship dynamic is held intact with the two of us, as well as interacting with Mari's other side of his family.
So, just for a little background, if you don't know, we have 4 children. The oldest, Amari, is 13, and he is not mine biologically. And then we have 3 others, Morgan, who is 7, Mariah, who is 6, and MJ, who just turned 1.
So, this topic has so many layers that when you're talking about blended families, I feel like you're talking about learning how to obviously coincide and work with a person who is not in the household. So obviously they don't understand like maybe the way you do things and the way that things are ran in your household. So being able to hold somebody, another outside being, to those standards to an extent is like it's challenging. It can be very, very, very challenging.
It is. And I think one of the things though that we had that was a positive and kind of helped us through this is that Amari never had to really learn me, because I've been around for as long as he can remember. I've been around before he was 1. Since he was 10 months old. So he's never really had to get used to me coming into the picture, you know? So it's not like he was 5 and I just magically appeared, or 7 or something like that. He doesn't remember life without me. So I think that's a positive for, like I didn't have to be integrated into his world, if that makes any sense.
I think that's a different challenge too when you're talking about like having, like you said, like a 5 or 6 year old and they like never knew you before, and you come in and it's like, who is this person trying to tell me what to do?
Yeah.
Trying to boss me around.
I don't want those problems. I do not want those problems. First of all, I salute all step parents. I feel like being a step parent is harder than being a real parent, to be quite honest. There's just so many lines that are there that you need to be careful not to cross. So you're still trying to figure out, you know, even though he's been here his whole life, he's been around me his entire life, I'm still not his biological parent. So there are still certain things that I try to leave for his parent to do. And sometimes it's a fine line to walk.
It is. So like there have been challenges, not so much now, because now it's kind of like no holds bar. I'll be like, man, you got just as much as I got to an extent.
Well, he lives here
Yeah.
now full time. He didn't live here before, beginning about a year ago. Now he lives here full time.
So beforehand though, just so we be transparent like we always are in all these videos. Beforehand, we did have challenges. It would be things that I would be like, don't say that to him. Let me address that. But then that kind of lead like that gray area, like because there are times like he would be completely in her care, and I'm not there. I'm at work or
It
something
happened
like that.
most times when he was over. That would be the case. He would be over on the weekends. I'm here on Saturdays. He is not here on Saturdays, and he would be with me all day.
Yeah. So how did you find that struggle? What was the hardest element of that to you? What did you think it was like the hardest, and how did you get past that, or have you got past it?
I think it got more critical as he got older, and I had to think more as he got older. When he was younger, I mean, it's like, I don't know, he's a small kid, so there wasn't really much to, I guess, now that he's gotten older, and I mean, he can be held accountable more, for his actions and for the things that he does or doesn't do that we tell him to do. So right now, for us, it's a little tough because it's a little different, because now we're transitioning him into being with us full time, and it was an abrupt situation. So now he's with us full time, and I think we're all adjusting. Mark included, Mari included, we're all adjusting. Even though he was here every single weekend, that's completely different from being taken out of your home and now into a different home. And even though this was always his home, it's just different now that he lives here full time. He's here 7 days a week. So I tried to leave the heavy lifting to Mark, and on top of that, he's a boy, so I feel like I'll be yelling at MJ and doing all of the disciplining for MJ, but when it comes to, I don't know, when he becomes a teenager, I will probably, I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably defer a lot to his father, just because, he's probably gonna be bigger than me, and he's gonna think, go ahead.
I'm saying vice versa too, because when they get into that girl stuff, it's gonna be all you.
I'm still parenting him because I'm still his parent. He lives here. He's under my care. He eats my food. I am his parent. However, I'm trying to find the best way to say it. There are just certain things that I let his father, as his biological parent, handle.
So it's like, so you're saying you feel like there are barriers there, even if they're not like loud and clear barriers. You feel like there are barriers and lines that you just don't want to touch and cross throughout the years.
I definitely do. I'm as much as he's here, I'm not his parent, and I've always had that stance. Like,
you're not his
I love him.
Mother,
I'm not his biological. I'm sorry. I'm not his biological parent. So as much as I love him, I've loved him all these years, and when I talk about how many kids I have 4, and that's what I say. So, I mean, in my mind, he's my child, but I still always have that fine line of separation, knowing that he also has two other parents.
So let's get into some of the meat and potatoes, which I'm sure you guys have, because I don't think I've ever really talked about my son's mother on this channel, really in vlogs or anything like that. So we'll give you guys some tea. Me and my son's mother have not really ever gotten along for the longest time. We don't really see eye to eye. We really have never seen eye to eye on really anything.
But you know what? I think things were going good for a while. Things were going good. Yeah,
about the past, I say year. We were learning about a year, about the past year.
The year before.
We were starting to learn how to co-parent with each other. Our communication was getting better. We were talking to each other. We had learned that Mari had really learned how to manipulate both parents. He would tell me one thing, tell her one thing, and then go to her house and do one thing and say this, and go to her house and say one thing and say this. And we learned that we really need to talk to each other, and if we don't, that this could get really, really out of control. But before that, we really getting into what I was saying, we really didn't see eye to eye at all, which really caused a lot of friction and I say unnecessary drama, just because it could have been a whole lot easier than what it was. CC and my son's mother have never met, officially, really never met. Never had to sit down, nothing on this side. Like, we always wanted to have that sit down conversation and felt like we should co-parent with each other, but for whatever reason she just didn't want to do that. So how did that make you feel?
It didn't make me feel any type of way. Again, he's not my child, so I'm coming into this situation. So I like to sit down with his mother. The only thing I would have an issue with is if I were to say something to him or like yell at him for something like that, and then like he said, he kind of learned early on how to play both sides, and so he would go home and say, oh, Cece yelled at me, and then she would call and be upset with me, and I'm like, look, I have no problem sitting down with you. If you would like to tell me how to handle a situation like this. I've never had 6, 7, 8, 9. I've never had a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old at that point, So it's like, yeah. So it's like I don't know. Like I'm doing this the way that I would do it if he was my child. And so if you want to have a sit down with me, I am perfectly fine with that. We can sit down and you let me know, how you feel like would be an appropriate way to handle a situation like that. And so that was my only thing. Like, don't get upset with me and how I do things if you don't want to have any input in it when I'm asking you for input. But other than that, I mean, he wasn't, again, he wasn't my child. Like, I know where he is when he's in my care, so I know what I'm doing to him and that I'm being a good person and a good parent to him. So to sit down with you, that's more for your benefit than mine.
Which I always thought it was crazy. Just, I guess, is a bit of therapy for me too, because I really never had an issue. I don't know, but like, I've always, every dude that's been around Amari, I've met, had conversations with before. And this is my wife of almost 10 years. She never conversed or had a conversation with her. So, I mean, that relationship between the two of us caused a lot of stuff. Because obviously I would vent my frustration to her, which she could feel my frustration and being upset at times with things that would go on, that I felt like I didn't have control over, which caused a lot of friction. Like, a lot of stuff, like I had to fight for parental rights, which put a lot of strain on our relationship. Obviously, you're tense and stressed out as a male because your child is ripped away from you, which is obviously having CC in my corner through that was big. But it's just like, you kind of like always in the middle. Speaking from a male perspective, giving some insight, you kind of always feel like in the middle because you want to keep peace on the one side with the person, because you obviously you guys have a child together, but you still have a household that you are running and you need to keep the peace there. So it's always a constant battle within yourself, I guess, to an extent, because you, on one hand, like I said, you're trying to adhere to somebody who has really not gonna say nothing to do with your family dynamic, but they do. And then obviously you got your wife or your significant other, which you're trying to make sure that's good. So
as far as affecting our relationship, we don't let it affect our relationship. We don't let it affect our relationship. Have we?
I think that's a little, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it has affected our relationship.
Have we had conversations about certain things? Yes. Certain things that have happened, or the way he's handled things. Yes, we have had conversations about things like that. But I think you just have to make sure you stay on the same page. I think the important thing is to understand that no one has ever been in this situation before at this moment. You know what I mean? So I guess I say that I've never had a 13-year-old before. He's never had a 13-year-old before. And he's never dealt with the mother of a 13-year-old before. You know what I mean? So everybody is kind of going through their different challenges. So just making sure that you're understanding each other's side with that, and knowing that everybody's working for the common goal, which is the betterment and protection and care of the child.
So like, when I would make decisions on something, like obviously we have a conversation. If I would go against something you said, how would that make you, or suggested, how would that make you feel?
It's not. It depended on the situation, because I try to stay out of it. For some things, I try to stay out of it. I'll state my opinion if it has something to do with the household in general. Like, say it's like he did something and we're talking about a punishment or something like that. I will try to. I'll give my opinion. Most of the time, if he asks me, I'll give my opinion. Or if I feel like really strongly about something, I'll give my opinion. But at the end of the day, I also understand, again, I am not his biological parent. So, I mean, I usually defer to him to make the final decision.
I think that's... So do you think, obviously, like, we have those conversations about our kids now. I feel like most of the time I'm the one coming up with the punishment now, and it kind of be like, she'll either tell me that's too rough, or that's too harsh, or okay, that's cool. Like, do you feel like you don't have that same say so in this type of deal?
No, I have the same say so. We talk, and if you say something, I'm like, that's too rough, then we talk it out. So it's not that I sometimes I just let you do it because I just don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like dealing with it as far as our kids go. But if I have a problem with it, I'll say something.
As far as Mari and his other side of the family, I leave that really up to his mother. I don't really have a relationship with anybody on that side of the family, so I leave that aspect to his mother to get that stuff done when he's in her care. So sorry if that leaves not too much to the imagination or answering that question. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to share this video and pass this information on to somebody else. Until the next one is Mr.
and Mrs. Bradley
checking out. Peace.